Welcome to day 52, Minute to Win It. We're gonna start today with an upper body quad set where we spend 60 seconds at all 4 movements, separated by a 10-second transition. We're gonna complete 4 sets, and then we'll move on to a hip stability sequence, which we will complete 3 sets of. Movement 1A is a tri-pull bend over row. We're gonna get into a deep hip hinge position. We're gonna pull both objects into that tight isometric position. We're gonna release 1, 2, and then both for that third pull. So we're gonna go 1 pull, 2 pull, 3 pulls. We're gonna complete this for the entire duration of that 60 seconds. Movement 1B is an incline push-up. So you're gonna find something around the house that's gonna elevate you off the floor, couch, coffee table, the wall. We're gonna keep our elbows in nice and tight here, and we're gonna descend into our push-up position. We're gonna ensure that our tippy toes are pressed into the floor and our heels are fluid, and that our shoulder blades remain packed and tight to create stability through the upper back area. As always, a push-up is a moving plank, so we're moving our entire body up and down as one unit. Movement 1C is a T position lateral raise. This will be our home position, and we'll be releasing 1 weight at a time. Again, as always, soft knee, so that we are able to distribute our overall body weight and the weight of our objects to the muscles in our body, as opposed to putting a little bit extra into the knee joint. Movement 1D will be a floor press variation. So upon being on our back and ensuring that our shoulder blades are pressed back and down, we've got a couple options here. Option 1, press both dumbbells or household items up to the sky, and you're going to release 1 at a time down towards the floor. If you've got something in the home that's a single unit, then you're going to allow both to travel up and down at the same time if you're sharing an implement. We're now going to move on to a hip stability sequence. Our first movement here is going to be a variation of a single leg glute bridge or hip extension. So I'm going to start by taking one of my limbs, I'm going to use my right one here, and lifting it up towards the sky, pulling my knee towards my chest. I'm then going to lift through the leg in contact with the floor to achieve hip extension. Once I've gone into my hip extension, I'm going to elongate my arm and press my thigh into my arm, but I'm not actually going to allow it to move because of the tension that I am creating here. I'm then going to sink my hip back to the floor and go back into hip extension. All along, I'm providing constant tension through this unit. I'm going to perform 10 repetitions before switching to the other side. Our final movement of the hip stability sequence is going to be a variation of a side lying leg raise. We're going to lay on our side on the ground, propping our neck up through the shoulder. We're going to have the hips in extension, meaning that you're going to imagine that you got to the top of your deadlift, and or you're squeezing your butt cheeks, and that's going to allow a nice solid smooth line here, as opposed to having a crease in the hip. From this position, we're going to lengthen our top leg, and we're going to keep our heel pressed away from the body. From this position, we're going to internally rotate that hip. So you're going to imagine your thigh bone turning inward. So I'm going to turn my thigh bone as close to the inside of my body as I can. And I'm going to raise up to my end range through my heel. Reaching, 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 reaching. Once I've gone to my end range, I'm going to pause for a moment. I'm going to return towards my body and then I'm gonna get back into that top end range, focusing on internally rotating through my hip. I'll be completing 10 controlled movements with one side before switching over to the other side for 10 controlled movements. After completing 3 sets of the hip stability superset, that concludes our workout. So give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel.